Welcome to Brain Vision.
So let's talk about how the equilibrium price might change when you have some kind of externality corrections. Let's look at it. Firms in an industry are required to pay a fine for their carbon dioxide emission. Well, if they're required to pay a fine, the supply is going to decrease, right? So if the supply decreases, this is going to cause, let's draw it right here in the corner. Let me see. Right, we have our demand curve and we have our supply curve. So if supply decreases, this is going to increase the price, right? Which makes sense. If a firm is being taxed or, well, has to pay a fine for the carbon dioxide, it only makes sense that they would try to charge a little bit more in order to pay this fine. Now, B, companies are sued for polluting the water in the river. Same idea, right? They're sued. It kind of corrects the externality, and we know that if it is a negative externality, then there should be less supply, right? So for example here, this would be our supply for our social, kind of our social optimal supply curve, and this would be our private supply curve, right? So correcting it would decrease the supply. And so again, in the case of B, price would go up. Now see, power plants in a specific city are not required to address the impact of their air quality emission. Well, if they're not required to address the impact of this air quality emission, then they're not going to do anything. Supply is not going to increase, it's not going to decrease. Price will remain the same. Now D, companies that use fracking to remove oil and gas from rock are required to clean up the damage. Once again, this is a way to kind of fix that externality, make up for it, reduce its impact. It's going to decrease supply, which in turn is going to increase price.